Good morning and welcome to the Daily Dose Spiritual Vitamin with Bonnie B. This morning, we're going to go into the Apocrypha and finish learning, getting our tools for wisdom, that we can move forward and use our discernment to help us understand the behaviors of others, how to navigate, because sometimes we can find ourselves in situations with unfriendly energies, and they mean us no good. And if we don't recognize the energies for what they are, we ourselves can succumb to them. For when you understand that like attracts like, for it is universal law, then you understand how a negative energy can gravitate towards a positive energy in which to feed. The best example I guess I can give would be how some people view the moon. For the enlightened individual, the moon is a source of light. It can be a source of guidance in the dark. And it can be a thing of energy and positive change. But for those who operate in the dark, the moon has dark aspects. For 3 days there is a dark moon, which means no moonlight at all. Low vibrational energies like that period of time, for there's no illumination. But what they may not understand is that during that 3-day period known as the dark moon cycle, the moon is meeting with the sun. For God has ordained that for that 3-day period, the moon and the sun must commune. They must. Thus those 4 phases of the moon: Ebla, Sonia, Idra. There's one more. But there are 4 phases to the moon. And during this time, the moon communes with the sun, which means that the moon lines directly up with the sun in which to pull the energy. The moon pulls her energy from the sun. For 3 days they line up. That's where the moon energy comes from, the sun. And I've taught that too. Taught quite a few things. But the point of the matter is that when you understand that even dark aspects of who we are require energy to be drawn from somewhere. So when you find yourself with low vibrational energies, and you may be the sun in that particular situation, that those energies are gravitating to you to pull your light. That's why they gravitate. Now, everything that pulls your light is not something that's of a good thing. For some things are vampires. And we know that the vampire's number one thing is to extinguish and allow you to come back under false light. Meaning, suck all your positive energy out of you and reinfuse you with negativity. Like I told you guys, it's all in the matter of perspective and how you view things. The things that you are taught to help you to be able to step away from the situation and view it in another way. For there are more than one way to view all situations. Do not allow tunnel vision, which is the horse with the blinders, that prevent you from seeing everything outside of your scope. For you are afraid. And that's how you get stuck in tunnel vision. Fear. Can't look to the left, can't look to the right. Must focus, must stay here. And in doing that, so much passes you by. Things that you need to deal with, things that you should be enlightened about, things that you need to come into awareness with oneself about. Failure to want to face things. Easier to run than to stand. But the thing that you forget about running is that once you begin running, you may never stop. Why? Why run? Why not stand and fight? Pick your battles wisely. Why not stand? I guess because it's easier to flee. But the thing that you don't understand is that even though you may flee, you can't escape. And that's why we flee. And I'm telling you as an escape artist, okay? I am an escape artist. I know that about myself. For to be true to me is to know all my aspects, both light and dark. So from one escape artist to another, and that's to those of you whom this may apply. It may not apply to everyone, but to those of you whom it does. Being an escape artist in the form is a form of a magician, because it's almost like a now you see me, now you don't. But let me tell you something about the escape artist. Eventually, the things in which you are trying to escape eventually find you. And when they find you, it will pop out of the dark and scare the shit out of you. So it's easier, unless you into the fear factor, of course, then just wait for it. It's coming. I can guarantee you that shit. But for those of you who choose to come out of escapism and come into the reality of what you know you need to deal with, the easiest way is to look in the mirror and just say what it is you're trying to escape. Face it. Face it. What's it gonna do? What's the worst that can happen? You will often find that in facing your fears, your imaginations, and what you perceive to be the worst thing that can happen is merely your imagination. Rarely is it as bad as your imagination plays it out to be. 4. In the escape artist routine, he can create different worlds in which he can escape into. But eventually those worlds do come crashing down when the reality of what life really is comes about you. But it's so much easier to walk in the reality of what it is. Or I can do magic. Manifest change in realities. Manifest the change that you seek. The world of escapism is not necessarily a bad world, for it is the world of imagination. The world of escapism does not remove your problems. It does not cause them to no longer exist. But what it can do is it can allow you to have a temporary refuge that you may be able to find some form of peace of mind, that you may come to grips into the reality of what you need to come into grips with. A lot of times we use escapism because the world in which we have to deal with is so terrible that mentally and psychologically, in order for us to continue to move in that area and be motivated in that area, sometimes we have to, tell our mind a lie. Tell our mind a lie so that we can continue to operate under the false scheme. But see, in doing that, you are not awake. In doing that, you have decided to create alternate dimensions and realities for yourself, which means that you are no longer dealing with the real. In being awake, you deal with the real. You deal with the real for what it is, for its truth and its consequences. You deal in the real and what it is, and the fact that if you need things to change, you line up you. You line up your heart's desires. You line up the things that you desire God to change within oneself. Because when you understand the fact that you cannot change people, people change people. We each are responsible for ourselves. For when we die and it's time for us to stand before the Father, you can't blame that man standing next to you for the decisions that you have made. You cannot use someone else as your rationale or reason for the decisions that you have made. You must be true to you. For eventually all covers get pulled. If you are living in a false reality, the curtains will come crashing down and you will go through a tower. Reality will step in. It is of the divine that reality must step in. They call this the age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius is the age of knowing, the age of knowledge. So for those things, as we enter into this Mercury retrograde, it's coming back again. Because there are those of you who have failed to be true to who you really are. And so God is going to come through with another wave. Start smacking your asses around like you in a tsunami. You'll shake your world upside down. Turn your ass on your head. And he going to say to you, you still don't want to listen. How many times I got to dunk you in the dunking booth? Okay, Satan, dunk him. And then the puppet master will begin to manipulate your life. He will begin to allow you to believe that you are in control, but you really are not. It's a facade. It's fake. It's not real. But there are those of you out there who choose to live in fake facades. I love being awake, because in being awake, I can appreciate the things that they are for what they are. I can deal in the knowing of what I have before me and look for things that I wish and choose to create. And living in the now, I can see it for what it truly is, in order to make an informed and well-decided decision so that my consequences correlate with my aligned pattern that God has for me. There are times that we have to walk away from things that, although the flesh may truly desire them, the Spirit of God does not. For the flesh and the spirit battle constantly, daily. At times I am composed, mainly because I am alone. And so in being alone, I have time to be with God and I have time to be with self. And in being with self, you learn to love yourself. You learn to look at your quirks, and you learn to look at who you really are, and you learn that the best company in the world is you. You are your best company. Unless there's someone like you, you are really your best company. Because you will not, or at least you should not, Lie to yourself. You should have no problem accepting you for who you are. You know? And in accepting you for who you are, you can stand in your boldness. You can stand in the fact of who you are. But when you have problems accepting who you are, then you present to the world a fake you, which is a false face, which is a facade. And then on the inside you are called what's double-minded. Because you begin to say one thing but you're doing another, because you're not in alignment. You are of two phases, in and out, in between. And so you must, house divided cannot stand. So in being in the in-betweens, you're a divided house. You will not stand. So, on that note, as we sit in retrospection, end week number 2 for the year of 2020, where are we? Are we on self-evaluation? We're in a new moon cycle as of this date. And the new moon is a moon of new manifestations. Archangel Michael and Gabriel and Uriel want you to be clear on your intentions. What do you see yourself doing? We have 14 days into this new year. That's 2 weeks. Double sevens. Before your year gets deeper, are you on your path to what you want? Are you in alignment with Source? Are you in alignment with your Creator? Are you achieving your goals? Are you happy? Can you smile? If you were to die tomorrow, would you be satisfied with your life and what you have done? Would you be satisfied with what you've left behind? Would it be something that would be legacy worthy, or something that would leave a mark? Do you choose to leave a mark? Where do you see yourself in the future? What do you choose to obtain? Are you living for self? Are you living for the collective? Are you living for the greater good of God? Where are you? As we get older and mortality begins to set in, these should be questions that you should be asking yourself. As your life begins to move forward and time is not promised, your legacy is who you are, what you believe, how you govern, the prosperity and abundance of knowledge that you leave behind, the lessons that you've learned and imparted into those who come behind you. What can you leave that can impart something positive into mankind to help him prosper, to help him pull closer to the mark of the high calling? Are you a soldier in this war? Are you a warrior in this war? Are you willing to bend? Are you willing to fold? Where do you stand? These are questions that you should be asking yourself in the evaluation of your true you and facing your realities and in moving forward. For when you understand that your manifestations are part of who you are, and in order for your manifestations to come into fruition, you must face truths about you. For there are 4 dimensions to you that must be in alignment in order for you to manifest. And if you are manifesting from the heart, then you have to be in alignment. And the questions that I pose to you are questions to help you get into alignment. The questions that you need to ask yourself and be honest with yourself. Okay. So, as far as this daily dose of Bible, it's for self-reflection. It's to help you decide, are you in alignment with what God has for you to do? $1 million question today. Are you in alignment with what God wants you to do? So, ponder that. Be blessed today. Just think. And let's act for the greater good of humanity, that we may be able to give that unconditional love that is so needed at this time. For there is so much hurt and pain out here that self-evaluation is necessary. So, you all be blessed today. Until it's time for us to come together again, have a talk on the next daily dose. Your spiritual vitamin with me, Honeybee. But this video is self-reflective. It's for you to look at you in self-reflection. Okay? So, you want to be blessed today. Until it's time for your next daily dose of your spiritual vitamin. Oh. Contents help. You like it? Feel led, Spirit of God is on your back, hit subscribe, join the family. Because we're here for growth, enlightenment, and prosperity. And we have a new moon cycle. And we need to do these reflective questions that we may be able to manifest. So that when we write our intentions down and send it into the universe, that we are clear of our intentions and where we're standing. Okay? So these things that I ask you to do are things to help you manifest. So you do this exercise that I've just given you, answer those questions. Then you decide what you would like to manifest based on the answers to those questions. And you send that into the universe for 2021. Because we will begin to work on bringing that manifestation into fruition. So, you all be blessed as we take the steps to manifest in the new year. Bye-bye, my beloved. Till it's time for your next daily dose, your spiritual vitamin. Peace and love.